Hello, Assalamualaikum everyone. We're from Group 29 and today we're going to present you guys about physical disabilities. Alright, so this is our group members, consists of two members. First, my name is Nur Aisha Akila binti Muhammad Shahiri and my friend Nur Anis Alia Arisha binti Roslan. Okay, and this is all the content that we're going to present today. First, we're going to present definitions and distinctions, disabilities and the idea of deviance, societal reaction and ambivalence toward disability, disability as a socialization process, disability as a career, managing disability, the Americans with Disabilities Act, and then the last one, summary. Alright, so first we're going to start with definitions and distinctions. There are three important terms that we take from physical disabilities. First one, impairment, disability, and then the last one, handicap. So for impairment, it refers to the loss of some ability, usually caused by some physical reason. Physical condition present at birth inhibit functions in the optic nerve, a limb, or the inner ear. This is an example of impairment. It can be an injury, illness, accident, trauma, or any congenital condition that cause an abnormality of anatomical, psychological, or physiological function. Next, disability. It refers to loss of function that accompanies an impairment. It also refers to a physical condition. Disability describes the effect of that loss on the affected person's activities. And then the last one, we have handicap. It refers to limitation on normal activities of self-care and mobility that results from some impairment. Next, all right, so this is all the phrases that we are not supposed to use when we met someone with physical disability. First, we should not use handicapped person, but it's better for us to use person with a disability because disability does not automatically imply a handicap. Second, the retarded. It's better for us to use people with retardation because we need to avoid categorizing people. And then the last one, we should not use crippled boy, but it's actually better for us to use boy with a physical disability because the word crippled has a negative or judgmental connotation to it. So it's better for us to put subject before the for before physical disability. Next. Also, individuals experience degrees of physical disability and impairment, and in all probability, extreme cases likely draw some kind of stigma. The extent of, for example, the extent of sight loss varies greatly between cases of blindness, and then seriousness of crippling, facial disfigurement, and then the last one, severity of intellectual. This is all like each disabilities. They have their own category and it differs with one another. So this is all the examples. First, we have blind. It applies to a very diversified, heterogeneous, and shifting group of people. Deaf, it applies to people with hearing loss, ranging from slight impairment to total deafness. Okay, next, I'll pass it to my friend. Let's go.
Okay, the next one is disabilities and the idea of deviance. So, disability as deviant status. Disability forms a master status that tends to override other characteristics of an individual. So, for example, a person who is in a wheelchair might feel like people don't see them for their unique, apa ni cakap? For their unique intelligence. Because all people see is their wheelchair. So they lose the status as individuals and only become cripples of the or deaf mutes. And they also experiences personally discreditable departure from groups' expectations because societal norms typically expect individuals to have two legs, two arms, functional eyes and ears, and other features for daily activities. And the discredited and stigmatized can lead to difficulties in securing employment and engaging in normal social interaction. And the other deviants, such as drug addicts or other um, other deviants can choose to enter deviant role, while the disabled do not choose this status because society ascribe this status to them even though they not commit the deviant act. Next.
Alright, so now we move on to disability and sick role. There are four elements to make up the sick role. First one, no attribution or of responsibilities of individuals for their own conditions. And then second one, assumptions from normal role obligations. The third one, recognition of the undesirable character illness despite the benefits of these role exemptions. And then the last one, an obligation to seek help to heal the sickness. And next, all right, so these are all society's do's and don'ts for the sick rule. First, they have to follow doctor's advice and please do not ignore the advice of health professional. Next, yeah, it's better for the person who's sick to tell others that you do not wish to occupy the role any longer than necessary, and please do not tell others that you wish you could remain ill for a longer time. Um, if for the second one, uh, for those people who seek, they do that to show that sick people also have high motivation to get better and healthier. And then the last one, Jews conceive of the role as only a temporary exemption from obligations and do not expect to enjoy the role's benefits on a long-term basis. Next.
Okay, so the next one is societal reaction and ambivalence toward disability. The first one is intellectual disability. People with intellectual disability are limited to intelligence and ability to perform cognitive tasks. Three components define disability. The first one is people with intellectual disability do not learn as quickly or as much as non-retarded people. And the second one is people with intellectual disability do not retain as much as information as others do. And the third one is people with intellectual disability have weak powers of mental abstraction and reaction from others upon discovering their cognitive incompetence. They may talk down to the retardeds, speak in slow and deliberate tones of voice, assume that retarded people may lack any knowledge or commonplace objects or event, or try to explain even the simplest idea during the conversations. And the next one is obesity. People who are excessively fat, tall or short, dwarf or midgets often face stigma and ridicule. One observer remarked that the obese teenager is disadvantaged because he is discriminated against. He is made to understand that he deserves it. He comes to accept his treatment by others as just. As a result, obese people may withdraw from social interaction to escape negative sanctions. And the next one is blind. So there are three categories of blindness, which is totally blind, legally blind, and functionally blind. So observers often refer blind to totally blind or nearly blind. So historically, society downgrade blind people as outcasts and beggars until 19th century. Humanitarian movement creates a special school for blind people to restore their self-confidence. And literature, mythology, folklore often characterize blind people as deserving pity and sympathy for their lack of sight. And these stereotypes promoting negative image to the social stigma on blindness and influence the interaction between the blind and sighted individuals. Next one is disabilities as a socialization process. So people who are having a physical disability often adapt their disability by these five stages. So the first stage is denial and isolation, where individuals may experience shock or disbelief about their disability and leading to a sense of denial. And they also isolate oneself from others or withdrawing from activities that were once enjoyed. And the second one is stage is anger, expressing anger and frustrations towards others. And the third one is bargaining. Individuals may engage in bargaining with higher power or seek alternative treatments in the hope of improvement, and searching support for groups and exploring various forms of assistance. The fourth one is depression, where they are having emotional collapse, feelings of overwhelming sadness, and a sense of loss. And individuals may feel increasingly isolated and lonely as they grapple with the reality of their disabilities, such as long-term physical care and managing various aspects of life with disability. The last stage is acceptance and rehabilitation. Individuals gradually discover new strengths and abilities within themselves, leading to acceptance, reconnecting with social circles, and engaging in activities with adaptations. And rehabilitation in such cases might focus on aligning expectation for social achievement with social realities rather than solely on adjusting physical expectations. Additionally, disabled individuals must cope with both external reactions from others and their own internal reaction during the rehabilitation process. Next one.
We have disabilities as a career. People with disability surely wants to have a good, stable career in their life. There are few ways for them to seek help about their career path. So first one, professionals and agency. They can have interactions with professional assistant workers such as doctors, counselors, physical therapists, and social workers because they also provide help for disabled people. For example, doctors, they must explain any impairment and the extent of the disability that it will cause. Next, many rehabilitation agencies and other organizations make substantial contributions to society's efforts to prevent, treat, and control disabilities and to individual clients. And then the third one, agency involvement may not always serve the best interests of people with disabilities. Next. Next, we have subcultures and groups. So first, the formation and growth of subcultures provide important support for the maintenance of patterns of career deviance. Second, we have disability subcultures serve specific functions such as providing social and recreational outlets, educating the public, pricing public officials, and then the last one, helping members to find job or marriage. And then the last one, the third one, disabled people establish many communities within the larger society. And for example, if you want to enter to join deaf community, there are few conditions to become members of deaf community, such as first, identification with the deaf people, shared experience associated with hearing impairment, and then the last one, participation in the community's activities.
There are few challenges, as we know. People with disability often face issues such as mobility issues, securing employment, dealing with medical demands, but also they often faces challenges such as social stigma. So there are four types for them to minimize the stigma that they often faces. So the first one is passing. Passing is involves this using or concealing one's disability to blend in as a normal member of a society, thus avoiding the role of perceived deviant. And this technique actually depend on the visibility of the impairment. For example, mentally retarded people have a difficulty to accept their diagnosis, and some will never do accept their diagnosis. So they try to attempt to pass like normal people that have normal mental abilities, such as carrying pen, rewatch, or even telling aspirations that are unrealistic for them. And even for uh, even for people who have a vision impairment, they also deceive others by wearing a contact lenses or telling that they can see something that actually they cannot really see. Okay, so the next one is
The next one is coping. So coping means mengatasi. Um, Someone with a physical disability may repeatedly encounter stigma from others in the process of developing ways of coping with this situation. So there are three general categories of situation in which a disabled person perceives an intrusion by normal people, and each instance creating a need for coping behavior. So the first one, the disabled person may treat others, especially strangers, as intruders if their reactions seem focused only on the disability. And then the second one, disabled person may resent others' tendency. And then the last one, disabled person desires to exclude the condition from an interaction while preserving the relationship. And then the third one, we have dissociation. Dissociation means pengasingan. It represents a retreat from social confrontation and a passive acceptance of the divine role. The dissociation strategy also involves avoiding questions likely to expose the disabled person to stigma, secrecy, manipulating the physical setting, rationalizing, changing to non-violence, and participating in deviant subcultures. And the last one we have normalizing. Normalizing means membiasakan. Disabled people can try to manage society's stigma by normalizing their deviance. This process supplies socially acceptable explanations for their disabilities. And for instance, physically handicapped people may assert in conversations with normal people, or they may avoid the word taboo. So this requires action from people with disabilities themselves. They can take action rather than trying to avoid it for their whole life. They can try to start a conversation with other people out there so that they realize that people with disabilities do live a normal life. So next.
So the next one is the American with Disability Act (ADA). So George H. Bush advanced his first presidential campaign by gathering the majority of the political support of the disabled population through a promise to pass the ADA, and the ADA became effective from 26 July 1990 and provides civil rights protections against discrimination for individuals with certain mental or physical disabilities. And it covers issues such as employment, public accommodations, transportation, and telecommunications. And individuals feeling charges under the ADA for discrimination can seek remedies such as monetary damage, physical accommodations, attorney fees. And additional provisions set up a penalty of 50,000 USD for the first violation and 100 USD for subsequent violations by an employer. And the ADA has increased awareness of the challenges faced by disabled people among the able-bodied and may have contributed to increase acceptance among us. So disabled individuals are becoming more visible in advertisement and media.
We move on to summary. Someone with disability may will experience social stigma and the role influences society expectations in a way that temporarily exempt people from certain responsibilities and obligations on the condition that they resume conventional roles as soon as possible. Disabled people also must manage the stigma they experience in some manner, and although disabilities result from physical impairment, affected people require socialization into the disabled world. That's all from us. Now we start with Q&A section. Anyone has any question?
No.
Tanya je.
Wait.
Jadi apa
Saya
ni?
tanya soalan.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Soalan saya ialah, what if you have disabilities friends, tapi dia rasa tak confident bila dia tak keramaian. Jadi, sebagai seorang kawan, apa yang awak boleh buat supaya dia tak rasa macam itu? Terima kasih.
Alright, so if you look at this, managing disabilities, we as a friend, kita sebagai kawan, kita boleh normalizing. Kita jangan anggap dia macam orang luar, just treat dia macam orang biasa so that dia pun akan rasa normal juga.
So,
Baik, terima kasih.
Okay, terima kasih.
okay, sekarang kita orang akan tanya soalan. So tadi kan saya ada share 5 stage yang orang yang ada physical disability ni hadapi. So bagi 3 je daripada 5 stage tu.
Saya jawab.
Okay, betul.
First denial and isolation, bargaining dengan depression.
Betul. Okay.
Alright, so now second question. Namakan name 3 terms in physical disabilities that I mentioned before.
Nak jawab?
Sila.
Yang pertama impairment, yang kedua disability, yang ketiga handicap.
Okay.
Betul.
Tahniah kepada semua yang jawab and thank you semua.
That's all from us.
That's
Thank
all
you.
from us. Bye-bye.
Jangan nak.